Welcome to News Headlines. I'm Joey Gilas with Charms Espina. Here are the top stories.
Malacañang says guidelines to be followed in COVID-19 low-risk areas placed under general community quarantine are already being finalized. The Department of Health reports 70 more COVID-19 recoveries, raising the total to 932, even as infections nationwide rose to 7,777, with 198 new cases and 511 deaths. Oil companies will implement another price rollback effective tomorrow, with big-time cuts on the prices of diesel and kerosene.
Guidelines to be followed in areas under general community quarantine are set to be released shortly. The guidelines will cover industries and businesses that will be allowed to reopen. These new normal protocols will be implemented in several low-risk areas starting May 1st. Metro Manila and several other provinces where there remains a high incidence of coronavirus infection are under an extended enhanced community quarantine that will last until May 15th. Mela Lesmoras reports.
The Interagency Task Force on Emerging Infectious Diseases is now finalizing the guidelines for the implementation of the General Community Quarantine, also known as the New Normal setting, in some parts of the country starting next month. According to Presidential Spokesperson Harry Roque, compared to the Enhanced Community Quarantine, a GCQ is more relaxed, but he assured all places will be closely monitored to quell the spread of the COVID-19.
Bagamat ang Metro Manila at ilang pang mga lugar gaya ng Cebu at Davao ay mananatili sa ECQ, importante rin na lahat malaman kung anong GCQ kasi ito na po yung new normal. Kung posible na pong bumaba sa GCQ ang mga areas na ECQ, ito rin po ang ipapatupad ng gobyerno.
One of the main concerns of our countrymen regarding the new normal is that what businesses or which industries are allowed to go back to regular or usual operations. Though the palace has already announced it earlier, the authorities said they're still studying the appeals of some people to make provisions for other business like beauty salons.
Ang problema dyan sa mga salons, barbero, imposible po ang social distancing dyan. Unless we have developed scissors na mahabang-mahaba na hindi didikit po yung nagugupit ng buhok na. But this will be discussed. Yung mga barbero at saka yung mga tindahan ng damit dahil marami na atat mag-shopping.
Meanwhile, Secretary Roque reiterated some industries will not really be allowed to function for the meantime, be it under ECQ or GCQ like the Philippine offshore gaming operations. His reminder to all,
kung ang private sector po ay magbibigay ng testing sa kanilang mga empleyado, we encourage that po. Pagdating po sa disinfection, siyempre po, importante na bago tayo magbukas ng mga negosyo na po pwede lang buksan under GCQ, protektahan pa rin natin ang ating mga manggagawa by disinfecting our environment.
Mela Lesmoras for The Nation.
In the meantime, the country has recorded 198 new cases of COVID-19 with 10 deaths, but with more recoveries in the past 24 hours. The Department of Health made the announcement warning all public hospitals not to reject or deprive patients of emergency treatment services. PTV's Mark Vitalco reports.
The Department of Health reminded hospitals of the anti-hospital deposit law following reports that a patient died after being denied admission by 6 hospitals.
Ang mga pampublikong ospital ay hindi dapat humihingi ng deposito. Samantalang ang pribadong ospital ay dapat munang bigyan ng emergency treatment ang isang pasyente bago ito i-refer sa pampublikong ospital kung kinakailangan.
For those with same concern, the DOH hotline 02894 COVID or 1555 is available 24/7. Meanwhile, the DOH is studying possible reinfection of COVID-19, just like what happened in Southern Philippines Medical Center, where 2 of their patients who recovered from COVID-19 tested positive again after their 14-day home quarantine. Yusek Berjere said that the PCR test may have only detected the remnants of a dead virus in their body. But she said there's no hard evidence yet to make conclusions on the possible reinfection of COVID-19 patients. Meanwhile, the WHO said that it would take 1 to 1.5 years for vaccine against COVID-19 to be readily available to the public. WHO Acting Country Representative Dr. Socorro Escalante explained that research and development stage alone takes 6 months. Also, vaccines should undergo laboratory and animal studies and 3 clinical trials to test their safety and efficacy. She added that there are now 6 candidate vaccines that are being studied by experts worldwide.
For the meantime, we would encourage the country to prepare its regulatory processes in terms of assessment and evaluation of the vaccine para po mapabilis yung receive natin, pag-register natin ng bakuna na nagawa na sa ibang bansa.
Today, DOH recorded 70 new recoveries, 10 new deaths, and 198 new cases. This brings the totals to 932 recoveries, 511 deaths, and 7,777 cases. Vergeres said that to date, there are 1,245 healthcare workers who contracted COVID-19. Of the number, 27 have died, 21 of whom are doctors, 6 nurses. Mark Fetalco for The Nation.
There will be hell to pay for those who have managed to weasel an extra cash assistance payout under the Social Amelioration Program by dishonest means or outright cheating. PTV correspondent Daniel Manalastas on those who did to better return the extra payment now or sooner. Let's deal with the long and unforgiving arm of the law later, as summed up in this report.
The Department of Social Welfare and Development reminds the public not to violate the policy on accepting the emergency subsidy under the Social Amelioration Program. DSWD Secretary Rolando Bautista says they received reports that some families took advantage and received the subsidy twice, while others already did but still receiving a cash aid. Once proven, DSWD says the violators may face sanctions and the cash should be returned. Bautista also confirmed that one of reasons for the delay in the distribution of the cash subsidy is that some of the frontliners are confirmed of being infected of COVID-19, and some areas are too far or belong to those geographically isolated, disadvantaged areas.
Short of saying, talagang nababawasan ang workforce sa ground dahil na din sa nagkakahawaan, no? Na kailangan talaga mismong air asset ng Philippine Air Force ang gamitin para makarating doon. Pero maganda naman ang nangyari ng mga previous days kasi nakapagpahiram po ang Philippine Air Force para puntahan ang malalayong lugar na iyon.
DSWD also reassured that the cash aid is enough for up to the month of May despite the extended enhanced community quarantine in some areas. According to the latest report by the department, 97.13% were already transferred to the LGUs, and 37 billion pesos were distributed to 7.3 million SAP beneficiaries. Daniel Manalastas for The Nation.
One of the guidelines in the distribution of DSWD's cash assistance under the Social Amelioration Program is to ensure no payouts are made to multiple beneficiaries living in the same household or under the same roof. Still, greedy cheats manage to exploit a weakness in the system, like this couple from Navotas City, one of whom is also a community leader. PTV correspondent Bhie Bernardo on this devious scheme by ineligible beneficiaries and Navotas City Mayor Toby Chanco's plea to his constituents in this report.
The local government of Navotas disclosed an alleged anomaly in the distribution of the cash assistance under the Social Amelioration Program. In a Twitter post of Navotas Mayor Toby Tiangco, he showed a picture of 2 SAF forms signed by a couple. The two declared 2 different addresses. The Mr. was discovered to be an employee of the community. According to the mayor, this is a clear motive of fraud. This is why Tiangco has a warning to the barangay officials.
Binigay naman sa amin sa kanilang listahan, dapat i-check nila mabuti yung listahan nila. Sinabi ko sa kanila, I will hold them responsible.
The local government urged those who are not qualified that receive the cash assistance to return it immediately. The Department of the Interior and Local Government has earlier ordered the posting of self-beneficiaries in the barangay hall. Despite this, distribution assistance for the residents of Navotas continues without let-up. In Barangay Daanghari, they are just now awaiting instruction from the DSWD to start distributing the SAP cash assistance. Their barangay captain also assured his or her constituents are not being neglected.
Sa budget naman po kasi meron pa po kaming 30% na pwede po naming ilabas para po makapag-provide pa po kami ng third and fourth wave para makapagbigay ng tulong po ulit sa residente ko.
Meanwhile, Mayor Tiangco announced he will donate his salary from April 2020 until June 2022 or when his term as Navotas City Mayor ends.
Kung sakripisyo man yun para sa akin, sigurado ko mas marami tayong mga kababayan na sakripisyo.
Navotas is also preparing for the start of COVID testing in the city within the week. The priority in the testing is the suspected cases as well as the frontliners. In the latest count of the local government, there are 31 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Navotas thus far. Bhie Bernardo for The Nation.
Over in the province of Cavite, a total of 161 cases of COVID-19 have been recorded thus far. The provincial government can no longer afford to let the number shoot up. Hence, a possible lockdown is being considered, as PTV's Stephanie Sevillano reports.
Cavite Governor John Vic Remulla advised Caviteños to prepare for a possible lockdown implementation in their province. Remulla said he'll work on with mayors to discuss lockdown rules. Additional reinforcement shall be requested too from the Armed Forces of the Philippines. This after their summary count for coronavirus positive cases hit 161. The governor added that the rise in number came after consecutive violations were made by some inconsiderate residents. Area with most number of coronavirus now points to Bacoor with 45 active confirmed cases. Moreover, Remulla reiterated that it would have been better if stricter implementation of ECQ took place earlier. Due to their province's previous intensified setup, numbers of violators declined by half this weekend. Meanwhile, initial clustering scheduled for Imus under extended extreme enhanced community quarantine were posted by their LGU to be effective starting May 1. Stephanie Sevillano for The Nation.
In the meantime, Caloocan City is conducting two kinds of COVID-19 tests to ensure accuracy of test results. One is the rapid diagnostic test. While awaiting the results, which are usually ready after 5 minutes, the person will undergo an RT-PCR swab testing, which Patrick De Jesus details in this report.
The target in Caloocan City mass testing are those in the vulnerable population. That include pregnant and senior citizens. Also included are frontliners and individuals with exposure to COVID-19 patients. Two types of COVID-19 tests are being conducted in Caloocan City. First is the rapid diagnostic test, in which a blood sample is placed on the antibody test kit. The result through this test that determines if one is positive or negative for COVID-19 can be expected in 5 minutes. But after this, a swab test is still needed.
Nagpapa-rapid antibody testing tayo for screening. Then at the same time, nagpapa-RT-PCR na swab testing na rin tayo. So para makasigurado po.
Obtained specimens will be transferred to the Philippine Red Cross for PCR testing. Results will be released in 5 to 7 days. The Caloocan City Health Office advises those who have been tested to undergo the 14-day self-quarantine while waiting for the result of their swab test. Meanwhile, the cash assistance distribution in the city continues under the government's social amelioration program.
Laking pasasalamat! Wala na akong pera talaga.
The Caloocan LGU received 1.7 billion pesos for the social amelioration program from the DSWD, from which 215,825 residents can each get 8,000 pesos in cash. But just like the other LGUs, this is a limited fund for the total number of their residents. That's why the barangay officials personally face complaints from residents who were not included in the SAP. Like in Barangay 16, where only 560 residents were approved compared to the original 1,030 in their database who were qualified for the assistance.
Kaya sinasabi ko nga sa kanila, bubog na rin yung katawan namin sa mura. So at least kailangan maintindihan naman nila.
Yung mga bawat kapitan, ilista na yung mga hindi nabigyan. And then i-forward sa DSWD directly yung mga names na yon.
The Caloocan City Social Welfare and Development Office is now doing double-time work to finish this week the SAP distribution in the city. Patrick De Jesus for The Nation.
In a span of 12 days of swab testing in Quezon City, 6 individuals have tested positive for the dreaded disease, while 51 ended negative. Meanwhile, market schedule by barangay is now being implemented in the city, as we hear from PTV correspondent Alan Francisco.
This market goer was not allowed to enter the Tandangsora market in Quezon City since his barangay is not scheduled today. Starting this Monday, there is an scheduling in the said market. Residents of Tandangsora and Bhie Toro can only go to the said market every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, while on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday is for the residents of barangays Pasong Tamo, Vasra, and Culiat. The market is closed every Sunday. The Task Force on Transport and Traffic Management inspected the social distancing and checked the quarantine pass and face mask of the market goers. While in EDSA, Philippine National Police Highway Patrol Group continues their inspection for motorists. They wanted to know if the motorists have essential reasons why they get out of their houses. Authorities said these are just some of their ways to stop the spread of the virus. In a April 25 data of Quezon City government, there are more than 1,100 confirmed COVID cases in the city. Deaths are 118, while the recoveries are 142. The City Health Office said they will still have to verify from the Department of Health if the swab test result from April 13 to 25 was already included in the given data. In 57 swab test results, 6 persons have been confirmed positive, while 51 are negative for COVID-19. Meanwhile, the QCLGU said they will add 2,000 pesos financial assistance for those indigent mothers who breastfeed their children, while the establishments that provide loans or credits to the poor will be allowed to operate again within the city. Alan Francisco for The Nation.
Now, over in Cebu City, the local government has ordered an investigation into an alleged case of discrimination against a female nurse. Let's hear the full story from PTV Cebu's John Aroa.
Neighbors allegedly prevented a nurse from getting inside a residence in City Calihon, Barangay Labangon, Cebu City. They were reportedly fearing of being infected with the deadly COVID-19. The nurse just came from work and just wanted to go home to get rest, but her neighbors advised her to find and move to another place to live.
Duty mo ko, sir. Kabaw ba kang exempted me?
Hindi, ma'am. Ang mga kuwan sa dire, ma'am, mga tao ba? Action mo, wala ka, magdaw. May mga volunteer dire nga. Mamalit tayo, isubo na lang dire na.
So, nagtuom, sir. Okay, kadalag ba rin? Kabaw ba ka?
Ayaw na. Kabaw na sa gawapon.
Sige, mag-implement na ko na inana. Gapundok mga ng mga tao diha, sir, oh. Kay mo, gikapoy ko sa trabaho ko, gikapoy.
Cebu City Mayor Edgar Labella was already informed about the incident. The city government is now conducting an investigation.
I have directed the city attorney to investigate and look into the alleged discrimination of a frontliner in Sitio Calihon, Barangay Labangon, to go into inquire, look into, and conduct an investigation and gather all the facts surrounding the incident.
From PTV Cebu, John Arua for The Nation.
Back in Metro Manila, an inquiry is underway into an incident involving a foreigner living in a posh Makati village and a cop enforcing the ECQ guidelines. PNP Chief RG Gamboa ordered the probe on the incident, which transpired over the weekend. The rest of the story now from Bhie Bernardo.
Tension rose between a police officer and foreign national inside an exclusive village in Makati City. Caught on video, a foreign national arguing with the police. According to Makati City Police, Police Senior Master Sergeant Roland Madrona advised the household helper of Javier Para to wear masks while doing the garden and watering the plants. Para went out and confronted the law officer.
You should have more decency to actually go and solve the problem in the Philippines.
One of the guidelines under the Enhanced Community Quarantine is the mandatory wearing of face masks outside. In a statement, Para said that he is not aware that face masks should be worn inside a private property. He added he went outside to inquire on the 1,000 peso fine slap on the household help. PNP Chief Police General RG Gamboa ordered an investigation on the incident. The Philippine National Police said that patrolling inside these upscale and exclusive villages is upon the request of barangay officials. PNP spokesperson Police Brigadier General Bernard Banak reiterates the operations conducted by the police are in line with the revised police operation procedures. Both parties are now preparing the cases that they will file in line with the incident. Bhie Bernardo for The Nation.
In the meantime, 2 riders on a motorbike are a no-no, and also in direct violation of safety guidelines of the Enhanced Community Quarantine. Now, a traffic enforcer of the MMDA is in deep trouble with his commander for letting a TNV motorbike driver and his frontline worker rider slide and off the hook that PTV's Mika Hoson sums up in this report.
An incident involving a traffic enforcer apprehending a motorist backriding his frontliner sister-in-law went viral on social media. According to this Facebook post of Michael Villanueva, they allegedly asked the enforcer for considerations but instead fined them 5,000 pesos. His sister-in-law was then asked to get off the motorcycle to wait for a shuttle service. After an allegedly 30 minutes of waiting, the enforcer eventually allowed them to travel because of limited shuttle service. According to Metropolitan Manila Development Authority or MMDA, this is not the first time that an enforcer apprehended Villanueva. They said they also have CCTV footages that can prove that the 30-minute waiting time as well as the limited bus service is untrue. MMDA Traffic Chief Bong Nebria said that they do not tolerate all kind of breach of discipline. He added that he has issued a memo to make sure that all their enforcers will abide by the law. He asks the public to stop the hate as the MMDA is just doing its responsibilities despite this COVID-19 pandemic. Lastly, he pleaded to the public to use the social media to file a complaint instead of persecuting the agency. Mika Hoson for The Nation.
With the serious constraints of maintaining physical space between each other and the need to retreat indoors absolutely necessary, the work-from-home arrangement that used to be a frivolous option from a handful is now a key component of a changing world order. PTV correspondent Sandra Samala tells us more on the new normal of doing things in this report.
Online deliveries are often used nowadays, as well as virtual meetings and online-based learning. Jobs performed in the office can now be done online and at home because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Can this be considered as the new normal? Salva is currently working from home. She's a CPA in an accounting firm in Taguig City. She said that she is doing an extreme multitasking. She doesn't just work at home but also takes care of her children.
Study says that breastfeeding is vital in battling COVID-19 and other diseases for the kids. So I have 2 kids and I tandem feed them.
Sometimes her kids would crawl up to her while she works. Her strategy and advice to other parents who work at home created to-do lists and a workable and practical routine.
Sa ngayon, I treat work as a me time. Kasi nga, nandito na ako sa tabi ng kids nandito lang ako sa bahay.
Personally, she feels that there are a lot of ways to develop a flexible schedule every day to strike a balance between performing professionally and parenting. According to a psychologist, the sudden change of events in the social order and milieu has a massive effect on one's mental health. A downside effect of working from home is the decrease of work engagement of an individual, but this became a way for organizations and companies to know the importance of readiness and working remotely. Some companies and schools might continue using the online platform even when the pandemic ends.
So, nagkaroon ng switching of domestic roles. Because that's what happened during now na quarantine. We can expect some sort of effect yun after quarantine, yung domestic switching of roles.
Expect some among us will not go outside and in crowded areas. The very same who will continue to observe physical distancing. In addition, it will take some time before the quarantine state of mind disappears from one's mindset or consciousness. She added that it could last a month or even years as long as people still look at the world as a risky and dangerous place. Her advice:
focus on things you can control. Next plan, look forward. Be in the present, but at the same time, think of what you want to do when everything's okay na.
Sandra Samala for The Nation.
We'll be back after this short break. Stay tuned.
The
rather spend all of our money in connection with COVID. Discovery, assistance, lahat. Kaya dito nakatutok tayo. Every time that we meet, ladies and gentlemen, hindi tayo lalabas sa COVID. COVID lang tayo. Sa oras lalabas ang vaccine, i-lift ko kaagad. I-lift ko, wala nang seremonya. Huwag na kayong maghintay, basta pagsabi may vaccine.
Basta't sama-sama at laging handa. Kaya natin to.
Government response to the COVID-19 spread may not have begun as early as desired, but the commitment and the direction government has taken since the get-go continues to pass public muster. And the latest poll clearly indicates huge public support, with 8 of 10 giving government a thumbs up in its efforts to curb the sweep of the deadly global pandemic, as summed up in this report.
Malacañang welcomes the result of a new survey conducted by the Philippine Survey and Research Center regarding the COVID-19 situation in the country. It says 88% of Filipinos are optimistic the country will soon overcome the crisis. When it comes to the duration, about 8 in 10 believe the crisis would last 3 months or less. It also says Filipinos' worry points are mainly microeconomics, like the lack of money for daily needs, not enough food at home, and loss of livelihood. But amidst all this, on the satisfaction ratings on efforts to address COVID-19, it shows 81% are satisfied with the performance of President Rodrigo Duterte, which the palace delights over and is truly grateful for. According to presidential spokesperson Harry Roque, the administration is working really hard to further enhance the government response to the public health crisis. Despite this, Roque is aware there are still critics, like those against the president's pronouncement on a possible declaration of martial law.
Ang sinabi naman ng presidente, ang martial law ay gagamitin kapag nagpatuloy po ang NPA doon sa kanilang pag-atake sa sundalo, lalong-lalo na yung mga sundalo na nagbabantay lang naman doon sa mga nagbibigay ayuda sa ating taong bayan. Yan po ay nasa saligang batas. Wala pong pinagsasamantalahan ng presidente dahil ang kanyang batayan naman ay saligang batas mismo.
Melides Moras for the Nation.
Another oil price rollback is set for tomorrow. Local oil firms will reduce the price per liter of diesel by 1 peso and 80 centavos and gasoline by 20 centavos. Those selling kerosene will also cut the pump price by 2 pesos and 15 centavos per liter. The price adjustments will be effective at 12:01 a.m. for Caltex and 6 a.m. for the other oil companies.
The nation's supply for its favorite white meat is in peril of running out or falling short in the last quarter of the year. Hence, the Aggie Department is ramping up a zoning strategy to contain or severely restrict swine movement to cap hog casualties that PTV correspondent Clazel Pardilia discusses at length in this report.
Since the African swine fever or ASF virus hit the country, an estimated 200,000 hogs were affected by the dreaded disease. To ensure sufficiency of pork supply amid the spread of COVID-19, the Department of Agriculture or DA is determined to contain the virus. The agency has intensified its implementation of the National Zoning Plan, which strictly prohibits the transport of swine in red zones or ASF-infected areas. The DA also supports enhanced community quarantine, which helped the number of ASF outbreak to stabilize.
Wala nang pasaway ng mga hog traders na nagtitinda na nag-spread yung disease.
The Agriculture Department is confident the Philippines will not run out of supply of pork until the end of June, but they admitted the fang of ASF will not be completely eradicated. The effect of ASF on the pork supply might be felt during the burn months. According to the 2020 year-end outlook of the agency, there's a possible 43-day pork shortage by the end of the year.
By then, you can see yung declining supply ng pork because of African swine fever. Some of the hog raisers ay nag-shift sila sa poultry raising.
But DA emphasized this projection will only happen if DA will not make a massive intervention. Agriculture Secretary William Dar is now coordinating with local hog raisers to create strategies to prevent possible pork shortage. According to the Bureau of Animal Industry, an increase in pork production in non-ASF infected areas can ultimately solve the problem.
Pwede naman yun habulin ng mga areas na walang ASF. Ikalawa, pwede natin palitan siya ng other protein sources.
Bhie said it only takes 5 to 6 months to produce commercial quality live hogs, which means the swine industry has an ample time to produce and suffice the possible shortfall of pork supply. Kaleza Pardilla for the Nation.
In the meantime, let's now give way to President Rodrigo Duterte's public address on the COVID-19 pandemic.
Ang isusunod po naman, ito ang medyo may kahirapan, yung ventilator. Kasi po pagka dumami ang napunta sa ICU, dadami ang demand for ventilators. And at present, number one, the average number of ventilators in small hospitals is really very, very small fraction of what is really needed. And secondly, bigla pong humirap mag-import ng ventilator kasi nag-aagawan sa supply ng ventilator. So we have this project called Ginhawa, and actually we are already undergoing the final production of the 3 prototypes, and hopefully if the prototypes will work in our test patients at the ICU, we can continue with the mass production. Meron na rin pong mga identified electronics companies that are capable of producing this. Nagtawag na kami ng ibang gustong mag-develop, hindi lang yung UP Manila. So, nung pong Tuesday ay Friday ay merong nag-attend na at around 8 other interested groups to do the ventilator research. For example, ang Don Bosco po, ang Mapua, okay? Ay nag-propose din sila na sabayan na sila. Hindi naman kailangan isang grupo lang po ang pwede namang sabay-sabay.
For the mobile clinic for LGUs, mobile clinic is a self-contained vehicle equipped with a medical team that can provide healthcare services. And mobile clinics may be a flexible and viable option for treating isolated and vulnerable groups, especially during the enhanced community quarantine. The setting up of mobile clinics in LGUs should follow these considerations. But before I enumerate what these considerations are, Mr. President, the provision of mobile clinics is already being done by the local government units, governors, the city mayors, and the municipal mayors as well. Anyway, the considerations in setting up mobile clinics are the following. The doctor consultation setup must include use of face shield, consultation booth with protective plastic coverings. Healthcare workers, doctors, nurses, pharmacists, dentists must follow the 1 meter distance from patients and wear face masks during consultations. Presence of security personnel is essential to control the crowd, specifically the patients seeking consultation. And lastly, the number of patients to be accommodated by the mobile health team should be limited to prevent mass gathering of people, which is consistent with our guidelines in the implementation of the Enhanced Community Quarantine.
Humingi po ako ng certain essential information sa Bureau of Immigration regarding yung actual na arrivals and departures plus yung mga carriers that continue to operate. Baka po ang Department of Foreign Affairs at saka ang Department of Tourism ay meron din pong sariling data. Pero meron po akong gustong report very briefly as to the status of international travel based on data supplied by the Bureau of Immigration, sir, if you don't mind. So, sir, although on a limited scale, patuloy pa rin po ang arrival at saka departure ng mga international passengers. Yung po mga parating, Mr. President, ang classification po nila, definitely, yung mga overseas Filipino workers, seafarers, mga returning Filipinos po, mga returning residents, foreign spouses po nito mga bumabalik na Pilipino, pati po yung kanilang mga anak, diplomats, and also foreign crew ng mga aircraft, vessels, and so forth and so on. Yung mga palabas naman po, yung mga departure, ang profile po ay karamihan mga overseas Filipino workers pa rin po na inauthorize natin na mag-work abroad. Mga permanent residents po abroad na mga Filipino, pero permanent residents abroad po sila. Student visa holders, at saka siyempre po mga foreign nationals who want to return to their countries. For the period April 1 to 20 po, itong present month, ang overseas Filipino workers po na dumating ay nasa 16,744. Yun po namang umalis, palabas, na OFW, konti lang po ito, based on data ng Bureau of Immigration, 851 pa lamang po. Doon sa buwan na yon, itong April 1 to April 20. Yun naman po mga non-OFWs na Filipinos po na dumating, marami po, 27,062. At ang umalis naman po during the same period ay 4,164 lamang. Ngayon po, commercial flights ay nagpapatuloy pa rin po, pero on a very, very limited schedule ang kanilang arrivals and departures. Ang karamihan po sa mga airlines na ito ay kasama po ang Hong Kong Airlines, Cathay Pacific, Eva Air, All Nippon Airways, Royal Brunei, China Airlines, Qatar Airways, Korean Air, Asiana Air, Singapore Airlines, Japan Airlines, Kuwait Airways, Gulf Air, Malaysia Airlines, Etihad, Emirates, Jetstar, at Saudia. Yun pong marami pong nagkaroon na repatriation flights para po doon sa mga foreign workers natin na kailangang ibalik dito sa atin or gusto na pong bumalik sa atin. So marami rin po yung bumalik na by way of repatriation. Yung sa mga foreign nationals naman po, ang arrivals po, hindi lang po declassified kung anong nationality, pero po for the same period, Mr. President, meron pong record ang immigration na dumating na 914 foreigners during that period of April 1 to April 20. That's the report of the Bureau of Immigration, Mr. President. I don't know if DFA or DOT would have something to add to this information.
Yes, Verna.
Yes. Mr. President, well, foreigners as a general rule are not allowed because all issued visas were canceled as of March 22. And all visa waiver agreements were suspended as of March 22. Definitely no tourists are allowed in the country. So those are allowed, as what Sec Guevara has mentioned, are foreign spouses and children who are traveling with the Filipino national, and foreign government and international organization officials and their dependents. Of course, the OFWs. But tourists, zero.
Good evening, my countrymen. Nagpapasalamat ako sa inyo for heeding the warnings of government na mag-quarantine kayo para maprotektahan ninyo yung sarili ninyo at yung kapwa-tao ninyo kung maglabas kayo at makahawa. And also, I'd like to thank my gratitude to the uniformed services natin dito. Air Force, flying almost with non-stop, delivering the medicines and medical kits required. And for the Army, for delivering also in company with the government workers yung mga tulong ng pera, pati yung mga pagkain. Again, it is a sad thing to know that yung mga sundalo ko pinagpapatay while even doing the most honorable task of accompanying the government workers delivering money and the food. I'm so sad about this development, but there will always be a time for reckoning. There is no more peace talks to talk about. I am not, and I will never be ready for any round of talks. Kasi simply the NPA, the Communist Party of the Philippines, has no respect either for their spoken words or in their deeds of killing soldiers who are on humanitarian missions. Now, kulang pa tayo, we are still in the process of magbibili pa tayo ng maraming personal protection kits for our frontliners at ating mga medical people. I am informed that this will be completed in due time. Ang utos ko ngayon is i-deliver ninyo yung medicines kay General Galvez, Secretary Galvez, sa kanya. Huwag na sa City Health because City Health has no manpower to attend to all of these things. Ito naman kasi sa Galvez, he can distribute the burden to the different participating government agencies. And for one, gusto kong madalian, so i-deliver ninyo ito if it's intended for the provinces outside of Metro Manila. Yung malayo, it's being ferried by plane. Yung malapit lang, of course, by land. Pero gusto ko na dumating sa madaling panahon. And to this end, I have requested na yung para sa mga malalayo na lugar, i-deliver na lang ng Air Force doon sa TOG at kunin sa TOG yung mga beneficiaries or recipient if they are near. But if it is intended for a place that's too far away and not easily possible, then we can use the military helicopters, but with one condition, that on the ground there are troops that will secure the crew and the equipment itself. Mahal yung helicopter ko at sayang. Let us not be reckless about this. Ngayon, itong complaints na naghihintay sila, nagpipila sila sa FDA, naintindihan ko yan. Sabi ko nga, nandito man si Attorney Domingo, the head FDA, Doktor pala ito, sige ako, kanina pa ako sabi, Attorney, mukhang abogado ka kasi. Kasi mama mo, abogado. Yung sabi ko, we are not operating under normal battle conditions, sabi ko. We are operating in a crisis. Kaya, sabi ko, for the FDA and yung kay Bhie, Secretary sa DOST, magdoble sila ng tao, and the FDA, pati yung mga laboratories ng DOST Bhie, your offices must run 24 hours. So magdagdag kayo ng maraming medtech o yung mga nakagraduate na ng doktor, naghihintay lang ng results, or anybody nandyan sa health services, if you want to give your services, volunteer. I have authorized this both this itong dalawang opisina, FDA pati yung DOST, to employ as much as many that would be required para magmadalian and to enable the agencies to work day and night. Sabi ko kasi we are fighting a warrior, a crisis. So yun ang gusto kong masabi sa inyo. And yung hindi pa nakatanggap, let us know by radio or what. Magreklamo kayo ng mga radio stations ninyo dyan, o doon sa mayors ninyo, barangay captain when the mayors. Yan ang ating configuration ng gobyerno natin. Governors, mayors, municipal mayors, city mayors, barangay captains. Yan, mag-report kayo dyan, and it's a matter of just using a cell phone. Lahat naman ng cellphone, you can report to the governor, or the governor will just ask Malacañang kung sino pa ba ang those who were left behind. Sino pang hindi nabigyan. Kasi pagbigyan namin lahat. Itong sa transportation that would allow movement sa mga tao in areas under general community quarantine. Pero maghintay kayo sa final orders kasi pinaplansya pa namin to. Yung mga tindahan, yung mga bazaars, mga malls, big or small, it behoves upon you to see to it that the workers are protected. Meaning to say that the sanitation of the place must be guaranteed and that the employees are provided with durable and workable masks. And aside from sanitizing the place every now and then, you ask us to open, we agreed, but there are the protocols to be followed. May not immaculately clean, but just sanitize it for COVID not to thrive. Tapos, endangering your employees. Now to the PNP, marami ang makita mo ngayon kasi kukulang nga ang sakyan eh. But there are people who are forced to travel for a host of reason. One is nagkasakit, gusto pumunta ng ospital. One is wala talagang masakyan. Tapos may babae, matanda, bata, o kaya babaeng naglalakad. For all you know, she might really be a worker, a frontliner, or whatever. Lalo nga walang masakyan, the police must stop at pasakinin ninyo itong mga babae na ito, ang mga tao na ito, at ihatid ninyo sa lugar nila. Total, kung hindi, kung malayo pa, ikarga ninyo, bring her to the boundary of the next barangay where she lives, at tumawag kayo ng police doon, ipasalubong na lang, and for that police there to complete the journey of the whatever. Lahat yan, mga matanda, lalo na may mga sanggol dala, mga babae sa gabi, naglalakad, tapos madilim, ganon. They must be provided with transportation, and that is the transportation of government. Baski karamihan dyan, pulis. Huwag kayong mag-atubili kasi ang gasolina mura. Yun lang man siguro. Wala naman akong malapit na. Yung iba naka-lockdown pa rin. Tayo, we might open partially. Construction workers and things like that. You wait for the... Lalabas na yung modified ang natin, quarantine. So we will allow sectors of society that are not, di talaga nagdidikit-dikitan. Ang problema nito kaya modified muna eh. Kasi kung magsiksikan kayo dyan sa LRT na naman, wala nang katapusan ang problema natin. It will never end. And it will bring us down and down. I'm happy to report that the Philippines has maintained its credit rating of BBB plus. Hanggang ngayon, yung iba nagbagsakan na. And because, bala mo bakit? Kasi naniwala kayo, yung iba kasi late nag-lockdown, yung iba kung ano pa, tayo sunod kaagad sa batas. Pagsabi, gawain to, tapos ang mga trabahante ng gobyerno, for the time na wala pang lockdown, mahusay. They were really working. And let us not forget the government and to mga cabinet members, they are working, and the military and the police. Naawa ako sa kanila. Kulang sa tulog, hindi sapat sa sahod, pero that is how it is. Pumasok tayo dyan, magtiis tayo. But what is really very telling there is that we are serving our fellow human beings. Maraming salamat po.
Nagbibigay pugay po ang Presidente at ang buong sambayan ng Pilipino sa ating mga sundalo na inalay ang mga buhay o di naman kaya ay nasaktan sa iba't ibang engkwentro na kailan lang po ay mga nangyari. Unang-una po, yung mga napatay po sa engkwentro laban sa Abu Sayyaf sa Patikul, Sulu noong 17 April 2020. Ang mga naging bayani po, sila First Lieutenant Rogelio E. Delihero Jr., Staff Sergeant Jason P. Gazingan, Staff Sergeant Alexander B. Bolesa, Corporal Rasul B. Awoas, Corporal Ernesto L. Bautista Jr., Corporal John Michael T. Manodom, Corporal Mark Dexter U. Montenegro, Corporal Jomar A. Ninyalga, Private First Class Benson A. Bonguik, Private First Class Jomel N. Pagulayan, Private First Class Primark P. Valieser, at Private G. Don T. Usman. Yung mga nasugatan po sa engkwentrong ito, pinagbibigay-pugay din po natin, Sergeant Oliver Y. Salvador, Corporal Jesus T. Henora, Corporal Eric A. Curioso, Corporal John D. B. Sabaway, Corporal Apollo D. Papa, Corporal Narciso N. Salibad Jr., Private First Class Odit P. Flores, Private First Class JP L. Madawing, Private First Class Solomon T. Ngayak, Private First Class Robert M. Arias, Private First Class John Paul G. Manuel, Private First Class Jezrael U. Sapo, and Private RJG Esteban. Nagbibigay-pugay din po tayo sa kabayanihan ng mga ating mga sundalo na namatay po sa engkwentro laban sa CPP-NPA sa Himamaylan, Negros Occidental noong April 19, 2020. Ang ating mga kasundaluhan po ay nagbibigay po ng community security control doon sa mga namimigay ng cash assistance doon po sa programa ng DSWD Social Amelioration Program beneficiaries. Ang tatlong naging bayani po, Second Lieutenant Ralph Amante C. Abibico, Private First Class Carl Venice S. Bustamante, Corporal Joel C. Nobleza. Ang mga nasugatan po, Corporal Lismer J. Tumayaw, Corporal John Chris M. Laus, Private First Class John Paul M. Johnson, at Private First Class Alexis I. Mepranum. Meron din pong 8 wounded in action nung nagkaroon po ng engkwentro laban sa Abu Sayyaf sa Patikul, Sulu noong 22 April 2020. Sila Second Lieutenant Cesar de Vera Lipana, Staff Sergeant Jerwin Badong Uday, Corporal Julie Montebon, Corporal Warren Datoon, Corporal Jeston Gaceta, Corporal Jeffrey Aizon, Private First Class Bernard Tuday Beag, Private First Class Jener Barreyo. Meron pong isang naging bayani doon po sa enkwentro laban sa CNT members sa San Fernando, Masbate noong April 19. Ang napatay po ay si Corporal Christopher A. Desalisa. Doon po sa enkwentro laban sa CNT members sa Aurora noong 21 April 2020. Itong mga napatay po at nasugatan ay ganun din po, nagbibigay po sila ng advanced security patrol para po sa operation o para po doon sa mga namimigay ng cash assistance ng DSWD's Social Amelioration Program beneficiaries. Ang mga namatay po, Private First Class Jackson M. Malyari, Private First Class Ken Lester L. I. Sasapan, at 30 pong sugatan, Second Lieutenant JVS Sagragaw, Corporal Rondi D. Polancos, Private First Class Clarence N. Urpilia. Dalawa pong nasugatan doon sa enkwentro laban sa CNT members sa Paquibato District, Davao. Ganun din po, sila po'y pabalik na sa kanilang base matapos po bigyan ng security yung mga namimigay ng cash assistance ng DSWD Social Amelioration Program beneficiaries po. Ang dalawang nasugatan po ay si Sergeant Gerald L. Ignacio, Private First Class Ryan John D. Binasbas. Dalawa rin po ang naging wounded in action doon po sa enkwentro sa CNT members sa Victoria City, Negros Occidental noong 24 April 2020. Sila po ay si Corporal Rami Chife, si Corporal Louis T. Maghanoy. At isa po ang naging wounded in action sa isang police operation doon po sa encounter with unidentified suspects in Barangay Rizal, Monreal, Masbate. Sila po ay pinaputukan, siya po ay pinaputukan matapos po bigyan ng seguridad yung DSWD employees na namimigay ng Social Amelioration Program sa mga beneficiaries. Ito po si Police Corporal Romel A. Bartoloy. Nagpapasalamat po kami doon sa ating mga bagong bayani at pinararating po ng Presidente at ang buong sambayanan ang aming pakikiramay sa mga namatayan at ang pasasalamat po ng buong bayan. Nagpapasalamat din po kami sa mga iba't ibang mga gobyerno at pribadong mga organisasyon na namimigay po ng tulong sa ating bayan dahil nga po dito sa COVID-19. Ito po ay ang gobyerno ng Republic of Korea, ang gobyerno po ng United States of America, ang Ministry of Health ng Government of Brunei, Ambassador Wang Xilian ng China, International Atomic Energy Agency, Asian Development Bank, ang Taipei Economic and Cultural Office, si Senator Win Gatchalian at ang kanyang pamilya, ang Okada, ang Soler, ang Asian Gaming, Mr. Charlie Gonzalez, Mr. Simon Paz, ang Dating Daan, Ms. Grace Tan ng Jollibee Food Foundation, si Kenneth Yang po ng McDonald's Kindness Kitchen, si Frank Lau po ng Gloria Maris Green Hills, Mauro Agustins and Jerome Tuguin of KFC, si Dr. Jaime Cruz, ang Modern Cancer Hospital ng Guangzhou, China, ang Koho Kunshin Kokuakai Social Welfare Foundation, ang National Radio and Television Administration ng Fujian Provincial Administration of Radio and Television, Guangzhou Radio and Television Station, ang Joint U.S. Military Assistance Group, ang Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce Incorporated, Federation of Filipino Chinese Chamber of Commerce and Industry, ang Sichuan International Expo Group, ang Project Ugnayan, Bloomberry, Globe Telecoms, Metrobank, Coca-Cola Philippines, ICTSI, Andrew Tan Group, Megawide, Pepsi Corp, Fastel Service Inc., Nature Spring, Trend Micro, Taiwanese Compatriot Association of the Philippines, Hytera Communications Corporation, Beco Philippines Corp., Otsuka Solar Philippines, One Marikina MRRD and Lions Club, Philippine Kipao Cultural Association, Philippine Rovin Development Corporation, Diamond Motors, Road Engineering Association of the Philippines, Wilcon Depot Inc., Pilipinas Shell Foundation, Korea Quality Assurance, Shanghai Nanjiang, Korean International Cooperation Agency, Christ of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, HTP Clothing, Deluxe Pharma International Inc., Mr. Ramon Tulfo, Mr. Nicky Romero, Mr. Raymond De Los Santos, Mr. Carlos Gonzalez of GC8 Kenming Inc., Mr. Jacques Dupasquir, Mr. Kim Wong, AstraZeneca Pharmaceuticals Inc., Philippine Institute of Civil Engineers, Mandawi Foam, Denso Philippines, Vikings Luxury Buffet, Binalot, Heaven's Touch Cuisine, The Lunchbox Project, Frontline Feeders, Cebu Pacific, Safeguard, Bello Medical Group, Rabisco, Oyo Hotels and Homes, Boy Scouts of the Philippines, Towns Foundation, Art Relief Mobile Kitchen, Gokongwei Brothers and the Generics Pharmacy at Hotel Sogo. Imposible po siguro na pasalamatan namin lahat ng mga tumulong sa ating bayan ngayon, pero nagpapasalamat po ang ating Presidente at ang buong sambayan ng Pilipino sa inyong tulong. Nagpapatunay po yan na kakayanin natin to dahil meron po tayong bayanihan. Maraming salamat po.
And that was President Rodrigo Duterte's public address on the COVID-19 pandemic after convening the IATF meeting with presidential spokesperson Harry Roque, thanking all concerned agencies and frontliners. Now let's continue with the news tonight. Still on our business page, from January to mid-April, the collections of two of the country's largest revenue-generating agencies fell short of set targets due to the pandemic. But with some areas poised for general community quarantine starting May 1st, the government hopes for a turnaround. Naomi Tiburcio filed this report.
Business disruptions continue to take its toll on the government's tax collection. BIR's latest numbers from January to April show the agency only collected 480 billion pesos of their 879 billion peso target. Customs, meanwhile, say tax collections reached 160 billion pesos from January 1 to April 15 from their 193 billion peso target. The agency is hoping the general community quarantine will help slowly bring supply chain back to normal operations. Assistant Commissioner Vincent Philip Maronilia told PTV this will help enhance import activities and boost tax collections. He added the BOC is preparing to review its policies on the country's shift to e-commerce. Meanwhile, the DOF says financial losses of small businesses may reach 465 billion pesos since the ECQ. Reason for DOF to propose to Congress an extension of the net operating loss carry to 5 years. This means losses of businesses will be deducted from their income tax for a span of 5 years. But according to a tax expert, not all small businesses have enough funds to survive these trying times. Mona Brea is pushing for tax breaks such as general tax amnesty and lower corporate rate of 20%. He says these measures will further help small businesses survive beyond the COVID pandemic and continue generating jobs for Filipinos. Naomi Tiburcio for The Nation.
Meanwhile, as the nation enters its 6th week of containment and self-imposed community quarantine, there is a growing number of senators who believe a balance can be struck where the economy can be salvaged by carefully reopening certain industries and businesses while also saving lives through sustaining physical distancing and safety protocols. PTV senior correspondent Eunice Samonte tells us more.
Some senators are now looking at the possibility of slowly opening up the economy to make up for the loss during this community quarantine. For Senator Ralph Recto, the economy must open little by little, starting with the employers who must protect their workers and consumers by still practicing social distancing and proper sanitation procedures. Unemployment rate may increase according to Recto if the consumer would still have confidence issues. On the other hand, Minority Leader Senator Franklin Drilon is suggesting that construction, manufacturing, and agricultural sectors should start to operate to avoid further damage damages to the economy, which has been idle for the past 6 weeks of lockdown. Senator Amy Marcos is suggesting to proceed with a Build program of the government that will help speed up economy recovery and will also give thousands of jobs to the construction workers. But for Senator Grace Poe, the changes should start with the smallest sector affected by the pandemic, including the tricycle drivers who are dependent on the relief from the government. According to the National Confederation of Tricycle Operators and Drivers Association of the Philippines, they are still not yet getting subsidy from the government even before its extension. Meanwhile, Health Committee Chair Senator Christopher Bongo reiterated that a little sacrifice is needed to enforce the much-needed discipline to fight this pandemic. It can be recalled that President Rodrigo Duterte extended ECQ till May 15 in the areas of Metro Manila, Central Luzon, Calabar Zone, and other high-risk areas like Davao, Pangasinan, Benguet, Albay, and Cebu, or the Center of Industries and Commerce. Eunice Samonte for The Nation.
Young minds and fresh ideas using the latest technologies are what the country needs to salvage and uplift the agriculture industry. And the Agriculture Department is offering highly incentivized internships to lure these young, bright minds and set them on a rewarding and productive career that is based in their communities, that PTV's Clazel Pardilla lays out in this report.
The Department of Agriculture, or DA, is looking for 900 fresh graduates who will serve as frontliners amid the COVID-19 crisis. Under the Mentoring and Attracting Youth in Agriculture, or MAYA, DA will give them the opportunity to assist implementers of agri-projects in each congressional district nationwide. Agriculture Secretary William Dar is rooting on millennials' information and communications technology skills, which can ultimately help modernize farming and fishery sector.
We are building the human capital, future human capital of the department. Kung maraming magagaling doon, at least na-expose na sila.
DA will allot 100 million pesos budget to encourage the young blood to join MAYA. MAYA will only last for 6 months and treated as their on-the-job training with competitive allowance.
Sa lahat na allowances ay inclusive na yung 20,000 a month. Dapat sila yung may passion na gusto, hindi lang yung employment. Yung gusto, they should make a difference.
After finishing the program, DA Agricultural Program Coordinating Offices will give them a chance to create their agri-fishery business plan in their respective localities. DA will provide financial loan up to 500,000 pesos at zero interest payable in 5 years. Fresh graduates from any degree program ages 18 to 30 years old are qualified for MAYA. Clazel Pardilla for The Nation.
Since the enhanced community quarantine began, around 1,300 vulnerable inmates have been released amid the threats of the deadly coronavirus disease. 7 of them, including a pregnant woman involved in illegal drugs, were from a prison in Marilao, Bulacan. Karen Villanda had the chance to talk with them, and she filed this report.
After a long 3 years inside the prison, just this Friday, Spartan, not his real name, was released from jail. He was one of the 7 individuals released at BJMP Marilao, Bulacan last week to decongest the jail due to the growing threat of COVID-19. And now, he's focusing on making his life better.
Dapat nga po kasama po sa volunteer ngayon ng mga nagbabantay po sa taas ngayon sana. Eh hindi lang talaga umabot. Doon na lang po ako nabigyan ng pabor na nagpalista ako dun sa pamimigay ng, ito yung ano po na pamimigay ng gobyerno ng tulong dito, ma'am. Buti po nasama po agad ako.
Pursuant to OCA Circular 2020 ay kailangan na alamin kung sino yung nakapag-serve na ng minimum bagaman pinipistahan pa ang kaso. Na wala naman silang pampiyansa. So pwede na silang i-release Okay? Kasi na-serve na nila yung minimum nila.
Of 242 PDLs inside the BJMP Marilao, one of them, Anne, is 8 months pregnant. She was caught for involvement in illegal drugs last January and classified as vulnerable to COVID-19. That's why her case has been filed as urgent by the Public Attorney's Office, and now she's out of the prison through release and under her own recognizance.
Natakot ako sobra. Kasi sabi ko, ang dami namin doon, tapos buntis pa ako sa kalagayan ko. Tapos may COVID. Ang bilis kumalat ng COVID eh.
According to Public Attorney's Office, aside from using OCA as the basis, the number of PDLs released during the Enhanced Community Quarantine rose to more than 1,300 nationwide. Karen Villanda for The Nation.
Filipino communities under the Nation of Islam are on a low-key and toned-down celebration of the solemn feast of Ramadan, as customary practices or tradition have retreated indoors to a more intimate and private observance. For this added sacrifice and in supporting the Philippine government by following the community quarantine guidelines, the Embassy of Abu Dhabi is ramping up relief assistance to its Muslim brothers and sisters here, as we hear from PTV's Luisa Erispe.
The COVID-19 pandemic made a big impact on our Muslim brothers and sisters' celebration of Ramadan. Unlike before, they practice talim or the study of Quran inside their mosque. But during this time of the pandemic, they are directed to do it inside their homes. And if before, their suhoor and iftar or their feast during dawn or at night is done with groups, they now only celebrate it within their family, and they were given an ample time to buy the food to serve. They also admitted that they are facing struggles with finding enough money to buy food because most of their businesses were temporarily closed. That's why our Muslim brothers and sisters are very much thankful for the aid given by the United Arab Emirates Ambassador to the Philippines.
Alhamdulillah, malaking bagay na yan sa amin sa pagpapasting namin. Lalo na lockdown ngayon.
Ako po ay lubos na magpapasalamat po sa ating kagalang-galang ng Ambassador ng United Arab Emirates sa kanyang binigay na tulong sa ating mga kababayang Muslim.
15 kilograms of rice, canned goods, coffee, milk, and other supplies enough for a month was given to almost 1,000 families. According to the ambassador, this is part of their culture and tradition to give food to Islamic communities during Ramadan.
The support, we'll deliver it to the house of the administration. And we want to thank them. They put this support to go to them.
And even though the Islamic communities in Manila are still COVID-free, the UAE Embassy also reminded our Muslim brothers and sisters to abide by the guidelines of the government to fight the virus.
To apply with the regulation and the government and to perform their month of Ramadan, to pray for God.
Though our Muslim brothers and sisters face struggles during this time of Ramadan because of the COVID-19 pandemic, they kept their faith steadfast unto Allah.
Ngayong araw ng Ramadan, manalangin tayo, sana po magwakas na ang COVID-19 na ito at tayo ay makagalaw ng maayos.
Luis Erispe for The Nation.
Over the province of Surigao del Norte, residents seek medical consultations without leaving their homes. Just by calling certain hotline numbers, they are able to talk with a doctor for medical advice and prescription drugs. Venus Garcia of PIA Caraga has this report.
Stay at home is sternly advised by the government to the public. That is why, amid the strict implementation of the enhanced community quarantine in the entire Caraga region due to COVID-19 pandemic, the provincial government of Surigao del Norte ensured that the medical consultation need of the residents is met. In partnership with the Surigao del Norte Medical Society, the LGU Surigao del Norte launched the Tawag Consulta program, where the locals can avail of the free medical consultation and advice without going to the hospital or clinic to physically see a doctor. Using a telephone or mobile phone, patients may dial the hotline numbers where a designated HEALS 911 agent assists and refers the patient's concern to the doctor, who would provide the appropriate medical advice and prescription. The medicines will be delivered right at the doorstep of the patient, charged to the Medical Assistance Program and Social Services Fund of the province. The Tawag Consulta services are available 24/7. Dr. Crismar Mocoro, officer in charge of the Surigao del Norte Provincial Hospital, said the program is most beneficial to the senior citizens, pregnant women, and to those vulnerable individuals who are restricted to go out due to quarantine.
Our dear governor is very supportive with this activity. Nakita na namin ang mga problema na nangyayari kasi limitado ang ating mga sasakyan na available sa labas. At saka yung may mga iba na takot pumunta sa hospital dahil nga sa COVID.
The Tawag Consulta has already served more than 200 patients, and more than 30 patients have also received free medicines.
Mapasalamatan din ako sa mga doktor na tumugon o sa mga tawag ko, lalong-lalo na yung mga tambal na hinatid pa dito sa aming bahay.
Dr. Mocoro said the most common illnesses were related to respiratory condition, hyperacidity, cough, hypertension, including prostate enlargement, and electrolyte imbalances. With Susil Ragas, Venus L. Garcia of the Philippine Information Agency Caraga for The Nation.
Students in Taguig City can now continue their studies at home. This through the launching of a citywide e-learning project called Taguig Online Resources for Continuing Education at Home, or TORCH, in a bid to make up for all those school days missed by young learners. Ryan Lesigas tells us more.
The crisis caused by COVID-19 not only affects jobs but the education of students as well. That is why, in order to address the problem in education, the local government of Taguig launched the online resources for continuing education at home, or TORCH. Under TORCH, the students of Taguig will be able to continue their studies at home. This is true the teachers who underwent cyber schooling and training online. The post-ECQ setup of the local government is not just for the education sector but also for the other sectors in the community. Under TORCH, there are other programs such as Cyber Lab at Home, OSCAR or Online Senior Citizens Center and Resources, TikTok or Training and Enrichment courses from Taguig Online Campus, TOP or Taguig Online Portal, and Taguig OFB or Open for Business are also included. According to Taguig Mayor Lino Cayetano, they are preparing for the enforcement of social distancing, as it will be one of the challenges once a new normal is implemented. Like in other schools, Cyber Lab at Home will be helpful to decrease the number of students without being compromised, as they can continue their studies at home.
Dahil sa mga pagbabago na dala ng COVID-19, baka rin magbago yung mga rules sa paggamit ng SEF o yung Special Education Fund. Pag yun ho nagbago, pwede ho nating tingnan yung budget natin, ilipat natin yung pagbibili ng libro, kahit na yung paggagawa ng bagong gusali, ilipat natin.
Currently, the training is continuous in 4,000 public school and 1,000 private school teachers at their home for the reopening of classes, but Cayetano reassured that starting next week, the website is ready wherein the students can enroll. Ryan Lesigas for The Nation.
Those were the most significant stories for the day. I'm Joey Gilas.
And I'm Sharms Espina, and this is News Headlines.